There's a ground floor, it's gonna have to chop a lot of floor out. Well, I mean,
I thought you might be open.
He's got that. Yeah, I got that. It's awesome.
So you bought a vacation house?
Just kind of.
Not sure that the weather would have been better.
Oh, yes, yeah. No, that helped. At least period.
Yeah.
Well,
It's notoriously 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
It's like not even and then my brother, I'm trying to get them all to crawl space and I'm hearing everybody.
2, 3. I was like, yeah. This one.
My brother was like, I wouldn't try. He's gonna flow away. This was big.
Yeah.
Joel is my dog and she's
But
like,
yeah,
brother,
it's,
come
all
with
over
the
the
crawl
place
space.
we saw.
So, yeah, it's really sad. We're all gonna die.
There's ice cream.
Yeah.
She handles it pretty well.
Yeah, I would imagine. I'm already nervous like that.
I wasn't much of a.
Yeah.
Today, now, but you went.
Day off.
Oh, man, I did.
It seems that everything tends to slope a little south of us, which.
Not literally, for God's sake, I will do something.
I did my circle yesterday.
But, yes, I remember.
Okay, we got 7:30, let's call this meeting.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Gatling.
Here.
Ms. Thomas.
Here.
Mr. Harney.
Here.
Ms. McGuire.
Here.
Mr. Thorne.
Here.
Ms. Bo.
Here.
You have a quorum, Mr. President. We've got 6 trustees, we got a quorum, we got a meeting. All right, the next item on the agenda is the minutes of July 1st, 2024. We have a motion so approved.
So moved, yeah.
Second.
Moved by Diatley, seconded by Thorne to approve the minutes of July 1st, 2024. Any comments or any additions, deletions, or corrections? There being none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion so carries. Thank you all. Okay, the next item is the President's Report. We start the President's Report with the civility pledge. Mr. Thurman, I'd ask you to read the civility pledge on behalf of the public today.
In the interest of civility, I pledge to promote civility by listening, being respectful of others, acknowledging that we are all striving to support and improve our community, and understanding that we each may have different ideas for achieving that objective.
Thank you, sir. Okay, President's Report was a couple of quick items. First off, thank you to the Service Club for the 4th of July and the 5th of July. I'd like to get that out. It was slipped in between the storms. And that was the main thing. They had storms around most of the time, but they were able to get the events in and out and no problems. No major issues with the village on that part. I will note though that I have asked the Service Club for a debriefing meeting with the village staff. So the Chief of Police, Director of Finance, Public Works, and myself will be meeting with the representatives from the Service Club to just debrief from the 4th of July and get ready to go moving on to the next year. The other item is it's time to talk about Randall Road again. At least look at it. If you can't drive it. There is an announcement that the over Randall will be having another public hearing of the proposed alternative 1 that they have selected. That will be sometime in August. We'll get that information posted up on the website as soon as possible. The other item that is going along in conjunction with the tollway and KDOT working on the interchange at Randall. They are also looking at the interchange of 72 in Maine. So we're just moving right on up the road. That is also started going through its phase of operation. And that will be circulating here shortly as to what they will be doing up there. The basic thing is that there's going to be 2 more lanes added to Randall Road. They will be on the west side, not on the east side. There is no further expansion to the east allowable. They are up against their right of way. One expansion of the top one there will be to the west. We won't have to worry from that. We'll be at property, but we will have the impact. Okay, that's Randall Road up and down the line. And that's pretty much it for the president's report.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda, move item 12E-1 up to the present time, swearing in of a new part-time police officer.
Second. Okay, moved by Diatley, seconded by Harney to amend the agenda to move 12E2, 12E1 up to the present time. Any comments, questions, or discussion? There being none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion so carries. Keith?
I'd like to also make a motion that we move forward with the hiring of James Matakis as a part-time police officer in the village of Sleepy Hollow at a starting rate of pay of $27.30 an hour.
Second.
Moved by Diatley, seconded by McGuire to authorize the hiring of James Mortakis at the rate of $27.30 an hour as part-time officer in the village of Sleepy Hollow. Any further comments, questions, or discussion? All in favor, signify, roll call, please. Ms. Poe.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Mr. Thorne.
Aye.
Ms. McGuire.
Aye.
Ms. Thomas.
Aye.
Mr. Harney.
Aye.
Only votes, no negative votes, the motion so carries.
Just a quick background, Joe Bertakis worked for South Arlington for a little over 8 years. Prior to South Arlington, he was part-time officer in South Arlington. Prior to that, he worked for 33.5 years as a full-time officer with Cook County Sheriff's Police Department. So he brings a wealth of experience to it. I know him personally, worked for me in South Arlington. He'll be an excellent asset to our police department.
Thank you.
Yeah, go around. We're gonna have to step on the drawings. We're confident out here.
I can tell by his recitation of your history, you're probably familiar with an oath of office.
Yeah, I'm somewhat.
But I really look forward to this because as the joke will be told numerous times, almost ad nauseum, I have a non-speaking role. And this gives me an opportunity to speak. So
already stretches it out.
and on the back page, if you would just read that briefly and then repeat after me. I state your name.
I, James Mortakis,
Having been duly hired to the position of part-time patrol officer
having been duly hired to the position of part-time patrol officer
in the village of Sleepy Hollow, King County, Illinois,
in the village of Sleepy Hollow, King County, Illinois,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the ordinances of the village of Sleepy Hollow,
and the ordinances of the village of Sleepy Hollow,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of position of patrol officer to the best of my ability.
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the position of patrol officer to the best of my ability.
Excellent. That was the best one we've done yet. You get the cute one.
Suitable for training.
I'll be in touch.
Okay, thank you. Nice to meet you, everybody.
Thank
Thank you for the opportunity.
Welcome to the village.
Welcome.
Oh,
Thank you.
welcome aboard.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. President. You're welcome. All right, we'll come back to the agenda as published. The next item would be the clerk's report.
I'm tapped out tonight. I don't think I have from that point. I'm getting hoarse.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Planning and zoning, Mrs. Denman.
Thank you. The Planning and Zoning Commission held a public hearing last Monday and had a considerable discussion about the proposal before you that is to allow maximum height of not to exceed 54 feet. And the reason for that not to exceed 54 feet is because plans have not yet been made because they didn't know how high they could go. And so with the new elevator that will be installed on the northwest corner of the building, and then they're going to take the existing elevator and bring it up to the rooftop as well. There'll be additional heights required for the penthouses for those elevators, plus they want to do the glassed-in atrium type of thing. It was the motion of the Planning and Zoning Commission to recommend to you to approve the not to exceed 54 feet variance requested with no encumbrances. So do you have, I think it'd probably be easier, all of the information was in your packet. Do you have questions that you would like to ask me? Or the architect and the owners of the property are here should you have any questions.
Any questions for the?
I think your plans look awesome.
Great, thank you. I do have one question. The elevator in the northern end is going to be inside the atrium, correct?
Yes,
Okay, the elevator on the south end is going to be freestanding above.
correct,
How much of that is going to be visible from the people in the
Right.
Sycamore?
right. This is the existing service elevator from the old, what was it, Sears store?
Yes.
Okay. And what we want to do is we want to extend the floor so that we can do food service. Because we're spending a lot of money on kitchens. Both levels have extensive kitchens and so the idea is that we're keeping all the activity, all the noise and everything on the front 40 feet of the building. This is just strictly for service.
How high is it going to be above the?
It'll be 10 feet above the existing roof. Because, we need the for the beam, for the, for the hoist weight for the elevator guy. But, this elevator is actually, this is the new elevator that's going in. This is for the banquet hall people. And we're gonna extend it. We talked numbers with all the, Schindler comes out to be the best price for the elevator. And they told us to go ahead and build the full height of the elevator shaft. We don't plan on doing this immediately. First, we want to get open on the second and first floor. So this elevator piece will be up about 12 feet. That will be the only thing sticking out now.
Oh, exposed 12, waiting to finish.
Well, it'll be bricked in. Aesthetically speaking, it'll look like the rest of the building where. In other words, the brick facade will extend up and the elevator shaft will have that same brick appearance. This is the cafe on this side over here. You can't see it in this rendering, but when the third floor gets built with the glass and the atrium, it'll get swallowed up. But that's down the road.
And if I may answer the question, Mr. President, we don't know the height yet because it hasn't been designed, but it would be within that not to exceed 54 feet. And it would be faced in brick if that's.
Well, the second, yeah, for the atrium, the service
No, I'm
elevator in
talking
the
the
back
service one too.
is gonna be, is that going to be enclosed or is it gonna be just freestanding on the top of the roof?
It's not gonna be enclosed under roof. It'll be up
Just-
above, but
that's-
it'll be the facade of it will be brick. And
I'll go all the way back to that service center. Will it?
Yeah, we're extending the block shaft.
You're extending the wall, the brick wall on the west side all the way down to cover that?
not the
No,
front line.
That's what I was, the rear elevator is going to be out in the open
correct,
and just sitting there
correct,
visible from the ground.
correct,
You're
correct.
gonna see this square shaft.
Right, just popped up here in the middle.
Okay,
The doors are on the ends. We're gonna use one end of one door to bring the food out and then,
into the, okay, so it will be in a hallway, not open to.
correct, that's correct.
So the renderings that we're looking at on the computer, which I think is close, probably one of the other ones.
Yeah.
It's showing the west side of the building. The windows and the kind of grading that we see on top, that's the third floor. So when I see the brick there, that's what we're talking about. Once that third floor is up there.
That is correct.
Okay. Yeah, that one. So on that right side.
Right,
left
you can't
hand.
see the
Right,
elevator
right above
shaft,
the wording.
Okay,
but the elevator shaft is set back about 10 feet.
okay.
And there'll be a plane of brick, you know, it'll match aesthetically
Yeah.
and architecturally with all that.
Looks
I think it's even
similar to a
showing
large
it on the
chimney.
image.
Correct.
Yeah.
But it'll be flush with the glazing, the operable glazing.
I'll have to say, I too was impressed by the design of the building.
I think it's just a Sleepy Hollow need.
I went over,
great.
yeah, I went over the weekend over to Sleepy Hollow Mall, the parking lot there, just to kind of see what the visual, what the visibility is. And yeah, it kind of, it grazes the tops of the trees. It's nice because from the guest point of view from your banquet hall, they're gonna have this beautiful view of all the trees that we fortunately still have in the village. That have that nice hilly area, that have good fall foliage for pictures.
Those elevator shafts are no different than per se a chimney.
Yeah, what I was gonna say, on the image here, it shows that it is flush, the facade that Bart was talking about with the bricks, so, yeah.
The north one, I said, it's enclosed inside the atrium.
That's correct.
The raw shaft sticking above the roof line in the back is, not covered, not disguised.
Right.
It's gonna be opening into a hallway, not into.
Correct. And it is set back 12 feet from the rear elevation where the elevator is. But it's
So it won't
what,
be-
all of maybe 12 feet wide. That's it.
But that whole wall facing Sleepy Hollow side is still gonna be brick facade, is that what we were getting at?
With just the elevator shaft, right?
Correct,
So
correct.
it looks much like a large chimney.
Yeah,
Right, but it'll be built with the same finished brick that we use for the
yeah,
facade.
the building's like a T.
Correct.
I think the whole concept's beautiful.
I'm excited to share.
I would say so.
Thank you.
And I know at the.
Mr. President?
You talked
Yes,
about the
Mr. Schuster.
I'm
Right.
sorry, I don't want to interrupt anyone if someone started talking.
Go ahead, Mark.
There are two issues raised by this project, including this variance, and they have to do with the total occupancy of the building. At the public hearing, the testimony was that there'll be 5 banquet rooms on the interior. Those rooms each would accommodate 160 people. That's 800 persons total. The testimony was also that the atrium would not be used as a separate facility, but would be available for rental to persons using the other 5 rooms or one of the other 5 rooms for a greeting and gathering space. Although you've now heard there will be food available, probably hors d'oeuvres, at that location as well. And the third bit of testimony was that the restaurant would be closed when the banquets are being conducted. So, well, the second point is that there is not on-site parking for 800 patrons. The testimony at the public hearing was that the owner will enter into a contract, he hopes, with the owners of Spring Hill Mall for overflow parking and use of valet service for his patrons. So I would ask you to consider two conditions for approving this variance request. One is that the maximum occupancy of the building at any one time will not exceed 800 persons. And second, that the applicant will file with the village clerk a contract for additional parking off-site prior to, prior to occupancy at least. And that contract ought to be for some sufficient number of years to give you some comfort. I say that because the adjacent Spring Hill Meadows, the next nearest likely location for parking, I don't think has excess capacity, and the businesses there are going to suffer greatly if the overflow patrons from this use start parking there. It's going to be a problem for the village.
What does that parking lot hold?
The banquet hall parking lot,
Yes.
Ms. Detmer, have you made that calculation based on 800 of expected occupancy?
187 cars, say times 2 people each car. So roughly 300, yeah. Okay.
And if I may interject, at this point, we have not yet been able to calculate the actual occupant load because that is based on a square footage number dictated by the International Building Code. And for instance, it's 15 square feet per person for the banquet area because of movable tables and chairs.
Mm-hmm.
So that formula is applied. So it could theoretically be more, it could be less, and we don't have existing plans. So I don't know, while I understand Mr. Schuster wanting to limit it to 800, that could be a challenge for them and limit
Sure.
what to do at full occupancy.
Barb, I was just going off the testimony at the public hearing. I assume that you are doing separate calculations under the fire code and whatnot once you have sufficient plans in hand to tell us the comparison to parking spaces and occupancy. But that was what was testified to at the public hearing, is they thought they could get 160 persons in 5 separate rooms.
So anyway, theoretically, it could be more. So
Sure.
full agreement of having a written document required as far as parking off-site. I believe they are exploring some viable options that might even be longer than 5 years if it comes to fruition, but I'm not free to speak about that at this moment. However, that would be a viable item to have in there as far as actually restricting their occupant load. That could be a bit of a challenge because we also have to take into consideration the number of workers and everything like that.
I don't know about the fire occupancy part of it, but going back to the parking, which was the topic at hand, where do we take an account that in 2024, going into 2025, Ubers, Lyfts, drivers, limousine companies, where do we take that into account that a lot of times people drinking utilize these services at a very low cost, where we don't want to assume every single person of 800 is driving. So that would be something in that I would want to bring to attention, that people have drivers these days.
I think that's a question of what is the International Code Council doing to adjust its parking requirements, if anything, to accommodate that. I would also, I mean, this may be more of a regional use than local, and there may not be so many people that would Uber or Lyft. But who knows? Barb, can you comment? Is this an issue that the ICCI is taking up?
Well,
I'm sorry, the ICC is taking up to adjust its parking tables?
parking is purely a zoning requirement. The occupant load is based on fire protection requirements, exiting and that type of thing. It doesn't actually deal with.
Okay.
So, we look to the table in village's zoning code for what the requirement is.
All right,
Technically doesn't address banquet facilities at this.
Mark, you bring up, sorry to interrupt, you bring up a good point, because if you look at Cooper's Hawk over, you talk about workers and other people coming in. You look over at Cooper's Hawk and Algonquin that they just built, that whole road along there is all of their staff and workers. They don't have enough parking for their staff or anybody that's been over there. So you bring up a good point. If you've got workers taking care of this banquet facility, if, let's say, hopefully all the rooms are filled, which we all hope for, where are the people you're losing parking, where are they gonna park? And where, so I agree with, we should have something in it, and we may not be able to do that right now, but
There has to be a study or
there's gotta be
something.
something that would cover that.
And again, I think Mr. Schuster's recommendation of having some sort of written document that they provide X amount of parking, because they're planning on doing valet parking. So they're not expecting, they don't want, folks going down and parking on Sycamore or something like, or on Locust, that type of thing. They want to abide by the parking regulations of the village and do it with valet. But to have a written document from them that's either a lease agreement, property ownership, whatever they come up with by the time of, I'd say occupancy, because we don't want to be restricting, holding up a permit to get this moving along, if that makes sense to folks, or have it, prior to final or something, however you want to do it. But I probably recommend by occupancy that we would not issue an occupant load or an occupancy without established parking availability. I mean, but we want to keep the project moving. Does that make sense to folks?
No, that
No.
sounds reasonable.
But I truly believe, yes, I'm in full agreement. Something has to be written, but we can't state the number of parking spots at this particular time. And that's why I'm asking for until, prior to occupancy, because then we can calculate what the worker load will be, what the total occupant load, and we could include the bistro. So should they change their mind and want to keep the bistro open while they're doing the banquets, then it's covered.
Can you get the project moving and I don't know, you're the expert on this, and open up more occupancy as new studies or new arrangements get made with surrounding parking lots?
That might be a possibility, but I believe they're trying to open the entire facility at once. So that's why I'm saying, because they're going to have the kitchens available in order to have.
But if they can get the bistro open much sooner rather than wait 6 months for everything, wouldn't that make the most sense? I don't know. Maybe for you guys might know.
And
I don't know.
Forgive me for interrupting, man. The bistro.
parking,
be
excuse
open
me.
with existing parking. It won't-
Yeah.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, Mark, I'm sorry.
parking for the bistro and the employees in that entity, that can be accommodated on site as long as the rest of the business isn't operating yet. I think that the applicant just stated tonight that he hopes to get the interior, including the banquet rooms, up and running, and then the atrium and that rooftop work might come after that. Is that what you said, sir?
Yeah, that's correct.
What's the
Yeah.
date?
It's open the
But-
Tuesday.
Yes.
Months.
So I'm just suggesting that I will put in the ordinance approving this variance, a requirement that a written agreement for parking be submitted prior to certificate of occupancy. It won't hold up the project now, but it's something that needs to be on the village radar.
Agreeable?
Agreeable with you. I can't see their heads back there. But I think you understand, parking is going to be an issue.
Have you guys talked to the owners of
got
Spring Hall? Because
800
it's West
people.
Dundee, I guess, at this point.
Is there agreement?
With the director, I think her name is Denise Richardson, and we signed the contract with the director of the Spring Mall. We didn't right now.
Spring Hill Mall is very fluid right now.
Yeah.
is that that's gonna be something that is going to be having to be addressed.
Mhm.
Because we don't want our residents on Sycamore.
We have
Colin.
some other ideas, but we don't wanna start talking.
You understand, but you understand our concern.
Yes, of course.
And
we
you understand that if we
We don't
do
wanna have
pass
this
this,
problem too.
we're gonna have that caveat that your occupancy will be based upon you being able to
Yes.
provide enough parking that we're comfortable.
Yeah, Spring Hill Mall's very unreliable at the moment, I believe.
Well, the fact that it is now owned by West Dundee.
And it's got a fence around it.
Got a fence around it. West Dundee is hoping to have it demolished beginning the 1st of September.
And like I mentioned on a hearing, the bigger weddings, usually they order hotels too, so people mostly gonna go first to the hotel and they're gonna let the cars over there. And shuttle from the hotel gonna bring the guests. It's usually going this way, so.
But we got, worst case scenario, we're looking at 800 people, 400 cars with 2 in the car. So,
I know.
that's what
We
we
know
need to do.
I agree with Mark, have something put in the ordinance that when the time comes,
Cars are kept out.
but parking is addressed.
Yeah,
They're agreeable.
Mhm. Yeah.
Sorry.
they're-
So
yeah.
that we can go ahead.
Yeah, and I agree with you.
forward with this, yeah.
and it makes perfect sense for the parking. And again, my concern is trying to limit their occupancy, so just that. And perhaps the agreement can say that, that they will provide, documentation of parking will be available for the number of occupants determined,
To be determined.
yeah, to be determined, through plan reviews.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
I'll leave that fine wordsmithing to Mr. Schuster.
Sure. I mean, I understand occupancy is sort of an open question at this point, but it goes hand in hand with the parking. So I just brought them up together. And it's something that the village will want to be aware of.
Definitely.
I wouldn't worry so much about Sycamore because those cars can be ticketed and towed if necessary, but the free parking in Spring Hill Meadows that would be gobbled up by persons attending events at this building will be a potential problem. The
Yeah.
tenants over there, the businesses over there are not going to want to see no place for their customers to park.
Okay. Okay, any other questions, concerns about variance height?
All right, ordinance to come for the next meeting, Mr. President.
What's that, sir?
Ordinance to come for the next meeting, sir.
That's the consensus of the board? Yeah. Approval, all right, Mr. Schuster, ordinance.
Very good.
Next meeting. Okay.
Will do. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mark. Okay. Mrs. Detmer.
Yeah, second item is the, impervious surface ordinance, the Planning and Zoning Commission, by majority vote, recommends that you approve the ordinance before you this evening. There was one negative vote due to one item, so the majority recommends approval.
So I'm gonna ask, what was the item?
2024-6. The ordinance 2024-6. Ordinance amending the Title 6 Public Ways and Properties, adding a new chapter, Chapter 4 on previous surfaces to Title 7 Building Regulations in the Village Code. We have a motion to approve. So
Second.
moved by Arn, seconded by Thomas to approve ordinance 2024-6. Any further comments, questions, or discussion? I first off would like to thank the P and Z on this. This was a task presented to the P and Z years ago,
Yeah,
couple, 2-3 years.
yeah,
That,
it's been a while. I
been a
lost
while.
track.
It took a lot of research, a lot of conversations. And we finally got something, a lot of time spent on definitions. A lot of people learned about side setbacks, rear setbacks, front setbacks, yard lines. et cetera, et cetera. The recommendation from the P and Z is 4-1.
Yeah.
The opposition was to circular drives.
That is correct.
The P and Z did not recommend circular drives as a whole. But someone thought that we should have them, and that would be opposition. Any other comments, questions, discussion on 4-6? Not, roll call, please.
Quick question, who seconded, is that, okay, okay, here we go. Mr. Dattley,
Aye.
Ms. Bo,
Aye.
Mr. Harney.
Aye.
Ms. Thomas,
Aye.
Ms. McGuire,
Aye.
Mr. Thorne.
All right.
6 affirmative, no negative votes, so carries. Well. Okay. Anything else?
No, does anyone need further? Otherwise, I will adjourn with the proposed 1,001.
Information, does what before we leave this evening?
Say that again?
Information
Yes, sir.
that I need for contact.
Oh, yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Okay, P and Z, go to the attorney is over for the evening, engineer's report, we do have, the results of the 2024 street program bid openings. Mr. Martin, you'd like to sit in for Mr. Steele?
Okay, bids were open. In fact, we met last Friday to take bids for the 2024 street improvement program. There were 8 bids given. High bid was $512,000. Low bid, I'll just round out for now, was $363,000. So what's before us is we need a move to award the 2024 Sleepy Hollow Street Improvement Program contract to Medieval Construction Company in the exact amount of $362,950.50, provided that the village does not receive any protests within 7 days of the bid opening.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Thorne, seconded by Bo. Authorize the contract to Manville Construction for the 2024 street program in the amount of $362,950.50. Any comments, questions, or discussion? Being none, roll call, please.
Mr. Dattley.
Aye.
Ms. Thomas,
Aye.
Mr. Harney.
Aye.
Ms. Bo,
Aye.
Mr. Thorne,
Aye.
Ms. McGuire.
Aye.
6 affirmative votes, no negative votes, the motion so carries. Thank you all. Second item,
That's it. I'll cover. Oh, another item? No.
the second item, we approved the contract, and authorize the village president and village clerk to sign the papers.
Oh, there we go. And we also need to authorize the village president and clerk to execute the contract documents and all other forms required during the course of the project.
So
I will
moved.
second.
Moved by Harney, seconded by Bo. Any comments, questions, or discussion? If not, since some of these contracts are gonna deal with, no money, let's do a roll call, please.
Ms. Bo, Mr. Dattley,
Aye.
Ms. Thomas,
Aye.
Mr. Thorne,
Aye.
Ms. McGuire,
Aye.
Mr. Harney.
Aye.
6 affirmative votes, no negative votes, the motion so carries. Thank you all.
And that's all the engineer asked me to report.
Okay. That is all the engineer had to say, but we looked at the bids and we just about went ecstatic. The engineer's estimate was $438,000. The low bid was $363,000. We've got roughly $45,000 extra sitting here that we can use elsewhere on the road programs this year. So that's a good end from our point. We get this thing done. What we are looking at is the spare funds will be used on the curve on north of 70 on Sleepy Hollow Road, just south of 72. You remember the tree with the ladder holding it up there?
The tree with the ladder.
No, you haven't seen that all these years? There's a ladder in the trees up there, on the hill.
I've never seen this. I've been looking for the police cars on
It's an
Sleepy Hollow
optical
Road.
illusion. It's an optical illusion.
I don't like it.
But there is a tree holding, or there is a ladder holding the trees on the hill. We have looked into it. That parcel was subdivided recently, and in the subdivision, they did dedicate side of the road to the village, so we do have a right of way through that curve. So that will be of some help to us in resolving that issue. But we've been having problems with the water coming down, picking up the debris on that curve and bringing it on down into the creek. And hopefully this will give us some funds that we can put some embankment of some type up there, hold the dirt and hill in place and keep the road cleaner. Not washing down the street all the time. Well, that's good news on that. Anything else on the engineering side, Kyle, that was enlightening to us this evening?
No, we haven't had a chance to talk about water main replacement projects in a while, so I can touch base with them and see where we're at with that. Couple drainage spots that are problematic that I need to talk with them about. So if you guys have anything you want me to ask, I'll be talking with them sometime this week. So I can. So having paid multiple bills to them, we'll take care of it in one fell swoop.
There we are. Okay, no more for the engineer. Thank you for the report, Ed.
Yep.
We'll go to Director of Finance, Mr. Van.
Requested a motion for the approval of the accounts payable in the amount of $134,829.26.
So moved.
Second,
Moved by Thorne, seconded by Bo to approve the accounts payable for July 15, 2024, in the amount of $134,829.26. Any additions, deletions, comments, or questions? There being none, roll call please. Ms. Thomas.
Yes. Sorry.
Curveball. Steps through it. Ms. McGuire,
Aye.
Ms. Bo,
aye.
Mr. Thorne,
Aye.
Mr. Harney.
Aye.
Mr. Dattley.
Aye.
6 affirmative votes, no negative votes, the motion so carries. Approved. Thank you all.
That's all I have.
That's it. Okay, no update on the audit and.
They did the preliminary field. It went very well. They will be back the 26th of August for the rest of the audit. So they were very pleased with what they saw so far.
Good. It's nice not having them hanging out here all summer. Used to just come in and camp out in that room. Okay. Comments from the public. Mr. Rich or Mr. John, which of you two would like to start?
I called the short straw. So wanted to do like a quick wrap up of 4th of July and the fireworks. And I'll go through this really quickly so that we don't have to crowd into the police station and storm. So on the 4th of July, it was pretty well attended. Parade was very well attended up from previous years. The fun run and the fishing derby were pretty much on par, although the fishing derby, we heard a lot of positive comments because of all the work that was done cleaning out the lake. And the volunteers who cleared out the banks and made everything accessible was, I think, a lot more pleasant versus, fishing through the thorns and everything. The craft show, this was the first year for that. Maria, and who's one of the other VPs in the club, she put that together. I think she had 5 vendors. First year for that, and it was very well received by all the vendors, so that we'll continue that. We had 2 food vendors in addition to our own food tent, and those went really well. I mean, we were a little bit worried about the contention with different vendors from the village, but they all seem very positive about that. And, we consider this our kind of launch year, and next year we'll iron that out a little better. Might have to get more police once the thing really takes off. And then on the fireworks, went off a lot smoother than I thought we anticipated. we filled up pretty much the whole west lot. You know, years past, we could fill up almost both lots when the donation request was half as much. We're gonna leave it like it is probably, but with the show that RMK put off this year, I think it's inevitable that we'll get a lot better attendance. And there was one small glitch in there for about 90 seconds when, you know, I won't go into the details, but you can read about Wheat because they didn't make it over that second bank. We had a similar issue with the battery, but the fireworks vendor picked right back up and, you know, it was a small, I think it helped heighten the anticipation, but.
It was amazing.
Yeah,
It
so
was really good.
I mean, I took pictures of it. Some of them are posted on the website. The problem was there were so many fireworks that the whole sky just turned white because it was so bright. The show was 21 minutes. We shoot for 21 to 23-minute show. And I don't think anyone would argue that it's probably one of the best shows we've ever had in there.
Ever.
Yeah, ever. And a lot of that credit goes to helping to raise funds throughout the year for the fireworks. So the fireworks were really the whole 4th of July from a financial perspective. We don't know the final numbers, but it really appears right now that it was pretty much break even. So, you know, for the 4th, we wanted to be self-sustaining. We're not trying to make money, but we're also not trying to lose money. So we're real happy with that. Oh, and then lastly, car show had a great turnout. Steve helped with the car show because we were short some people. I think the number was 130 plus cars, which probably is a record. And overall, it was a well-attended event. I want to thank the chief for his participation, his guys, and the OEM guys. OEM was handling the perimeter as people were exiting. I was, you know, we get stuck right in the middle of this in the VIP parking, sponsor parking. And I noticed how well his guys got people out of that lot. I mean, it was like, boom, they were all gone. No problems, no contention. So overall, it was a very smooth night. So thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah. We had a great time in our float. And Ed and Steve didn't hand out all the candy at the beginning.
Okay, thank you. One quick note, if you all recall, Wednesday, we were to have had the concert in the park last week. It got rained out. The rain date is Friday, the 26th at 7:30. That is yet to come. Okay, no other comments from the public. Trustee reports, roads and parks, Mr. Harney.
Sleepy Hollow has scheduled maintenance for Crane Drive, which is the bulk of the money going to the road program. A letter was sent out to all the residents along Crane Drive and all the trustees. Everyone should have a copy of that letter. And it tells the residents what to expect during the construction project. The letter was written by the village engineer. I thought it was an excellent letter informing everybody. Heads off a lot of questions for the board. Nothing else to report.
All right, thank you, Ed. Finance, Mr. Thorne.
No report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mark. Water and sewer, Ms. Bell.
I mean, nothing really to report, but I do want to give you just a heads up. I've started talking to some of the residents with the wastewater meters, so we are in discussions and just getting my foot in the door. She called about a couple other matters, and so we were able to discuss the wastewater meter, and that the deadline is 2025. So I'm getting that date out there, and we'll go from there.
All right. Thanks, Courtney.
I'd like to, we said change phone systems, and I found out this morning that the public works number has been disconnected. So for the last 2 weeks, nobody's been able to get a hold of our department, but hopefully those are worked out. I'd like to tell people if you still have a problem getting through, please call the village hall and they can make a note for me to, if it's a serious issue, we'll address it, and hopefully the phone system will be sorted out by then. Just a side note for people.
All right, thank you, Kyle. Back to police and safety, Mr. Diak.
Yeah, a couple things. First, we'd like to make a motion to move Officer Urban Peterson to full-time status at a salary of $60,672.82.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Bo, seconded by Thomas to approve the promotion of Officer Irvin Peterson from part-time to full-time with a salary of $60,672.82. Effective July 1st, 2024. Comments, questions, or discussion? Okay, everyone must be doing a good job. We're taking it from part-time to full-time. Good. All right, other comments or questions? Roll call, please. Ms. Bo,
Aye.
Mr. Dattley,
Aye.
Mr. Thorne,
Aye.
Ms. Thomas,
Aye.
Ms. McGuire,
Aye.
Mr. Ernie. Aye. 6 affirmative votes, no negative votes, the motion so carries. Thank you. Well, okay.
One other quick thing, I want to brag about the chief and his department. If you see in your notes, several months ago, the chief applied for a body cam grant. And we were notified that we have received that grant. So out of 800 departments that applied, 112 departments got it, and we were one of them. So I appreciate the chief's work. He still has more paperwork to do, but you know, a very good win-win for him and the department and for Sleepy Hollow.
Good job.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
That was what, about 13,000 out of the 26,000?
Yeah, it's a 50% grant, so yeah, it's a little over 12,000 that we got. And we budgeted for 26,000 in 5-year cap, so it puts us in a good spot, really good spot. Now I've got all the administrative tasks that the government requires, accept it, I'll get all that done and we'll get the stuff ordered and.
That's another $12,000 worth of work.
Most of this part's not competitive anymore, so it's filling out paperwork. We'll be in a good spot.
All right.
Nothing further.
That's it. All right. Thank you. Appreciate the information and congratulations on the grant. It's always good to hear those words. Okay, next item is building and environment. Ms. McGuire.
No report tonight.
Thank you, Jennifer. Building and zoning, Ms. Thomas.
No report.
Thank you, Kelly. Old business. Old business come before the board. The only old business we've got really is the last meeting I announced that we were going to be looking into code of ethics and conduct for the board and in our commissions. That progress or that work is still in progress. As we talk, we've got about 7.5 pages of code of conduct and rules and regulations for us to consider. Some of these are new, some of these are not. Some of them are brought to us by the state that we have encountered that we will need to incorporate and follow moving forward. There are regulations on gifts. There are regulations on representing yourself as a member of the trustees to the public and how that is handled. So those items will be taken care of and we shall continue with that. That's the old business for the night. New business to come before the board. New business before the board.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved and second, all in favor, talk by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, we are adjourned.
You're like that kid at school where it's like the bell doesn't ring yet, but like you were, nobody's asking for homework on my watch. Good.